The next thing that we want to format, and usually the only other format that I use, is for my head levels. Here, if I click on it, I can see that this is a heading 1. Now let's right-click on that heading 1 and modify it and see how it's been formatted. First of all, it's Times New Roman 14 instead of 12, and it's bold, so you knock it up just a little bit to make it emphasized. Next, we want to go to Format, Paragraph, and notice this. We could actually put after a heading some extra space. Instead, I've been putting a blank line. It's your choice as to whether you put a blank line after a header or you put some extra space. Then you don't need to put the blank line. I'm going to use the extra space. And also notice this, that I've taken the special, which would have been first line indent, and I've made it none, so it doesn't indent. Let's go OK. Now you can see we have a little bit of extra space here. I don't need this, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. We have the space built into the style. One more thing that I wanted to mention about formatting head 1s before leaving this topic is that if I right-click and go to Modify, and then come down to Paragraph. Now, what I also do is I go to the other tab. Notice I've got 2 tabs up here. I've got the indents and spacing where we've been working, and then I've got line and page breaks. And I go and I turn on page break. This will create a page break before my head 1s, so every chapter starts on a new page. This will take effect both on the print-on-demand paperback and the Kindle eBook. I then say OK and save, and you'll notice that now my chapter breaks take place on a new page. Now, once we've come and we've formatted the styles the way that we want for chapter headings and our paragraphs, we just make sure we scroll through and we format everything that way. So let's get rid of this extra space. Let's go to the chapter, make sure it's a heading 1 by clicking on heading 1. Make sure that all of our paragraphs are normal, and just scroll through and format our whole document to be chapter headings. There was some extra space at the end. We probably don't want that. And let's go to the chapter heading. Here we've got some extra space. Let's get rid of that. I'll go to the chapter and I'll make sure it's a head 1. And this is definitely normal. See that it's all indented correctly. And we have 1 extra blank there. That's probably fine. And then here we've got some extra space we get rid of. We go to here, make sure it's a heading 1, and everything is formatted as normal. So it's all just normal paragraphs. We get to the end. You have a little space in the author note. Let's get rid of that. Make sure author note is a head 1. Okay, no extra space there. Let's get rid of that one. Make sure this is a head 1. This is all good. And then about the author, we have a little extra space now. Go to here, make that a heading 1, and everything looks good. So we've gotten rid of all the spaces, and we now have nothing but head 1s and normal paragraphs. The next thing that we're going to do is insert a title and copyright information. Now, I like to use a simple standard title. And I've included in the description a download of my standard title where you can just fill it in. Here I'm going to File, Open, my sample title, copy it, go back to my original document, and paste it in. Now I can go here and I can supply the information to make this apply to this document. So here the title, which is bold and centered, I want to be moving violation. Now the version here, I like to put versions on my documents. So the first one that I come out with is 1.0. After it's been edited, I go to 1.1, and then I just keep upping the number as new major versions and edits come out. The date is going to be May 19, 2018. Now, I usually give a book some fancy publisher name, like Black Oak Press via KDP. The year is 2018, and this should be published by author, or rather copyrighted by author. Once again, to discover more titles by the author, go to the URL. Now here, what I'm going to want to do is put in the URL of the author's homepage. And then I select the whole thing, and I come up to Insert, the menu item Insert, and Link. And I insert link. Now I want to make sure that we go to Melanie Jackson's homepage. There we go. Now we have a hyperlink in the book that will take the reader to the homepage. And the rest of this is just boilerplate. So that's our title. Let's go ahead and delete the title information we had in this document. And this we want to make a head 1. Now notice how the first chapter that I have in here is sign up for my newsletter. This is a standard promotional technique that I suggest you use, is always have your book do this. Now we can go up and we can add an optional table of contents. I would put it actually after sign up for my for my newsletter. And let's go about here and we'll insert table of contents. There we go. And then we go back up to the table of contents, hit return, and here we go. References, table of contents. Now the one that I want is a custom table of contents because I'm going to do some modification to it. First of all, I'm not going to show page numbers. And then I can just apply it. And here I've got my table of contents inserted. Now the final thing that we want to do is we want to add headers and footers for publishing a paperback. To do that, we go up to Insert, Header. Now I like the 3-part style for a header. I don't use the middle part, but I do put the author's name on the left, and here, get rid of that little extra space. Go here, and we'll just put a space. And then here, I like the name of the book, Right Justified. Okay, I also give my head levels. Notice how it's a little close to the text. I give it just a little bit more room by coming up here and going 0.4 inches from the top. And notice how that gave me just a little bit more room. Now let's go ahead and we'll close the header and footer. Now let's insert the footer. And for the footer, what I like to use is page number. So come here to Insert, Page Number. And we're going to do bottom of page, right in the center. There we go. And that's our page number. We've now formatted a document for publication, not only for a Kindle ebook, but for print-on-demand paperback as well. And we'll publish both of those via KDP in the next lesson.